Hi, everyone.
Hi.
It's so weird not having Matt tell me hi, James. Uh, we are doing BeerThralls for this beer protocol. I am really loud. Holy
Hi, James.
God! I need to downtone this. I'm James. Guess I'm not drinking rum and coke. You know what this
I
is?
don't believe you.
This is Hardywood's gingerbread stout in bourbon barrels in a frosted bug.
Hi, this is Jake. This is whiskey.
God, this is so good. Oh, clink. So
Clink.
this is the first episode of
Beer Protocol presents Countering Your Bugaboos. One and all.
how to choke on beer. Um, I was going to call it how the fuck do you deal with this? But sure, that sounds good too. Mm.
We're going to talk about Hulkbuster from a different angle. One of our listeners slash viewers asked how to deal with Hulkbuster from across the table.
How the fuck do you deal with Hulkbuster from across the
hmm
table?
So we want to talk a little bit about Hulkbuster and ways you could play around, mitigate his strengths, and come out ahead on the tabletop. First up, a disclaimer. These are ideas and strategies. We cannot guarantee you can beat Hulkbuster.
We have a camera and a microphone, and therefore we're always right.
Uh,
Um,
Additionally, Hulkbuster is a sixth threat model.
yeah,
Odds are he's gonna get to do what he wants to do. There's not gonna be a clear cut way to shut him down. So the best we can try to do if you're facing off against a Hulkbuster is play around his strengths, be aware of what he's good at, and then where his weak spots are and try to poke.
yep.
So let's start off with what is he good at? Hulkbuster has a big health pool and good defensive abilities, including a damage mitigation.
Hmm.
Um, that means that you are not likely to one round him or even two or three. It's going to take lots and lots of attacks of many different varieties to reliably bring him down by like round three.
Yeah.
Um, so unfortunately, that's still kind of just it. If you want to concentrate on removing Hulkbuster from the table, similar to Hulk or She-Hulk, you're just gonna have to keep attacking him.
Yeah, there's a couple of things you could
Um,
do to mitigate his strengths, but we do know his heavy repulsor blast is just going to push you around.
yeah.
At range 3 is still 6 dice, but he's once again 6 star character. The meteor punch, you're not only going to get. Wait. Hi.
While James is being attacked
Uh,
by a cat, I do want to talk about a little more on heavy repulsor blast. So Hulkbuster is a sixth threat model. If he was just a beater with good defenses, you could take like Black Dwarf for that. So what Hulkbuster brings on top of his high damage
come here.
output is the control of heavy repulsor blast. Hulkbuster is essentially a super high damage, super high defense melded with Shuri, which is what makes
Hmm.
him sixth threat more than anything else. Is he has a solid automatic power gain, even if it does no damage. Heavy repulsor blast still gets some power, and an automatic push on characters of all sizes. That's super strong. And so I think if I was a Hulkbuster player, my go-to plan every round would be really similar to my go-to plan with Shuri, which is which two things do I want not scoring points this turn? And if I don't have two different things, maybe it's just guarantee they're not going to score points first by pushing them off of the objective, and then clobber the shit out of them with Meteor Punch or a throw or whatever. Like, first priority, my opponent is not scoring points. I'm going to
Hmm.
push them off the point. Second priority, use my throw and Meteor Punch if I have actions left, hit and run to get into position to scoop up uh, any assets or civilians they drop, and then clobber them.
So
So,
you know how I'm gonna counter that. I'm gonna hide.
okay,
So
describe.
most things are size 2, size 3. Um, even though he has a range 3, hide behind a car, hide behind a truck, hide behind a building. Don't stand out in the friggin' open. If he can't see you, remember you gotta be within 1 inch, and he can have a line of sight to the part of your base. Um, if he can't see you, then he can't shoot you. So, yeah.
Uh, Fair enough. So, how do we get through some of Hulkbuster's armor because unfortunately, like the guaranteed throw, some characters like Baron Mordo can move back. Other characters like Midnight Suns as an affiliation can use their affiliation ability to get back into position after getting shoved around.
Hmm.
But it's kind of a similar problem for what you would do with Wakanda. Do you need to not get shoved away? Use your own models to form buffers to have one model stand behind another model so they can't be pushed from that direction, forcing Hulkbuster to move to a different angle.
Push, yes. Throw, no.
Throw, that's going to be a bad time. You're going to take chunks of damage. But his throw requires him to do Meteor Punch and not Heavy Repulsor Blast.
Yes, and you're
So
still.
he's still
So that's why
not, he's still spending power.
I'm still afraid of. I'm still afraid of using your own characters as a buffer, and the reason why is because build power, do meteor punch, possibility of getting the explosion, and then throw.
hmm
So it's triple damage on it.
Hulkbuster's, well, again, remember the collateral damage to the model getting thrown is only one. So
Yeah, but I'm
most of the,
still if I'm still throwing like a three size character or even like a two size character, it's still three dice against somebody. Plus they've already taken a point of damage from the explosion.
yep,
Yeah, it's a toss up, and that's the problem with this model is like we can give you great ideas, be wise with them.
that's one other thing is one of the ways you mitigate control lists that are focused on pushing your models around is give them too many problems. Play
Hmm.
wide. Play a wide list. Hulk now, granted, Hulkbuster again is a six threat model. So a wide list is going to run into problems where Hulkbuster can very realistically start one-shotting your models,
Yes.
and then that very much mitigates your wide strategy. So how can you leverage lots of attacks to your advantage to wear Hulkbuster down? Incinerate. He is not immune to Incinerate.
He's non-municipal.
Additionally, a more recent release, if you want to play X-Men or X-Force, uh, I'll throw out Honey Badger. Has her little quirk where if she's within one of an opponent, she's annoying, and all of her allies' attacks against that model go at one less defense. So essentially, if Honey Badger sneaks up to Hulkbuster,
So I haven't looked at Honey Badger. So basically, if she walks up to Hulkbuster, you can incinerate Hulkbuster. You can do her annoyance, and now he's at like a one psychic defense, one energy
one
defense.
energy, one psychic.
If you're playing X-Men, that's actually pretty easy to do.
So yeah, the trick would be, can you build Incinerate into your list? Incinerate is a good generic thing that almost any affiliation can take.
Hmm.
Uh, I did a side project of organizing a spreadsheet.
You did.
There are 11 models. Yep, there are, double quick, 11 models in the game that can do Incinerate. Now, granted, a lot of this is going to be on spenders, but people who can do it with basic attacks would be Cable, Crystal, Domino can use her grenade.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, X Force looks like they're going to be ahead a little bit. Green Goblin can chuck out Incinerate relatively
Yep.
easily. Um, and it appears that even, according to my notes, Scarlet Witch can throw out Incinerate. You have a
Scarlet
few
Witch with Incinerate, though, is a great idea because doesn't it say on Scarlet Witch that if she's within so many inches that you just don't remove Incinerate?
I'll have to check Scarlet Witch, but I believe that Incinerate is one of the conditions that she prevents. In addition, Hex and Judgment are both ways to screw up Hulkbuster's die rolls,
Mm-hmm.
in that it turns off his criticals, and it can make things a lot more difficult for him to bounce back unexpectedly with his lower dice count.
Turning off his
So,
criticals is kind of an ideal thing to do because even if you're throwing six dice, if you remove the explosion of his criticals, you're neutering him by a quarter. You're still going to take
so
damage, but it's still neutering him a little bit.
the other
Um,
thing, actually, status conditions really are my go-to recommendation
yeah.
for dealing with a model of this size because Hulkbuster has a lot of health. um, you're actually probably going to be able to lay a lot of conditions into him. And your opponent's going to have to start making choices of, if it was a 5 or 6 stamina model, do I want to spend an action to shake Incinerate?
Hmm.
Probably not, because they're going to get dazed soon. It's not worth the
Yeah.
momentum loss. Hulkbuster may not get dazed for a bit, which means your opponent's going to have a lot of time to capitalize, and you do not want to lose Hulkbuster because
The
Hulkbuster's Smaller buddy side, still strong scenario piece, not nearly as effective.
My other idea was you're throwing status conditions on him. Throw stun. Uh, I always get this wrong, and I just asked you, stun or stagger. It's the one that says you only get one
Stun.
power. Stun.
Stun is probably one of the go-to stats conditions I would try to get onto Hulkbuster for the reason being Hulkbuster's very, very good at generating power.
Hmm.
His builder gives him a very reliable income of power. He has lots of cheap ways to use power. Um, Root is going to make
Root's
his stuff
annoying.
more expensive at the same time. Poison is going to help hurt his energy income that he gets for free.
Hmm.
If he has to rely on his builder to get any power at all, then he's much less likely to be able to throw, use hit and run, or even use meteor punch.
Yeah. The other thing I would say about that is we always say give your opponent bad decisions. If you don't have something solid to do, give your opponent a bad decision. If you're throwing stun, if you're throwing root, if you're throwing poison, if you're throwing something on them that's removing their energy that they can't start doing meteor punch like every turn, then they're going to have to spend a round going, I can do 2 repulsor blasts and get 2 power, or I can spend 1 action to shake it, once again losing an entire attack so I can get more power on Repulsor Blast.
Yeah.
Um, so it's you want to give them that bad decision. You want to get them to do like, sure, make them do a hit and run, but make them pay for it. Make them pay for it a lot.
Uh, Finally, one of the things I wanted to bring up for Hulkbuster, whenever your opponent has a really valuable high threat cost model, one way to help sort of even the odds a little bit and trade up in terms of value is a tactic card called Blind Obsession. Blind
Hmm.
Obsession has been making waves in our local community for a few people, but it's a little tricky, so I want to talk about it real quick. Just we haven't talked about it on the show before. Blind Obsession is a tactic card that's unaffiliated, so anyone can take it. You don't need any specific requirements. And it is played during the activation phase, specifically at the start of the activation
Hmm.
phase. So this is after power phase before anything else happens. Um, any character can spend the 3 power. The character that played Blind Obsession gains an obsession token. Choose an enemy character. Uh, when the character that played this card has an obsession token, it adds 2 dice to all of its attacks targeting the chosen enemy character. When the character with the obsession token is rolling defense dice, if they're being attacked by the chosen enemy, they get 2 extra dice to their defense roll. If they're attacked by
Hmm.
anyone else, remove 2 dice from their defense roll. So, they lose this card when the chosen character is KO'd.
Yep.
So, how does this interact with Hulkbuster? You can take a relatively lower threat model, perhaps especially one with, say, rapid fire, for example,
Hmm.
or has other advantages to sort of up their output, and you have them play Blind Obsession. Now, for this round, whenever they're attacking Hulkbuster, they'll get 2 extra dice, and they'll have 2 extra defense against Hulkbuster, which is going to potentially limit how much power he can generate from his builder, and is also going to help you stay in there for a round. Now, the disadvantages you want to watch out for and be careful is this is going to be ideal when Hulkbuster is holding a flank on his own, which he can.
Yeah.
Hulkbuster absolutely can go to like a side objective and hang out somewhat in the center of the table and sort of cover like one half of the board and be pretty comfortable because of his guaranteed pushes. But that could leave him vulnerable if none of your opponent's other models can get to your obsessed model and stop them.
Hmm.
If you have priority, even better, go Blind Obsession and immediately go into Hulkbuster, especially if you've been able to set up at the end of the previous round with Incinerate or Honey Badger.
Yeah.
I've seen it done on the table with Nebula, a 2 threat model. Was able to go in with 6 dice on her basic strike and then be able to freely re-roll them all because Hulkbuster was contesting.
Baron
Um,
Zemo, like anything has
yeah,
charge is a good thing to
charge can
use.
be a good expected. I would also, like I said before, highly recommend rapid fires
Rapid fires are
models.
good.
A 4 dice rapid fire builder becomes a 6 dice rapid fire builder with
Strangely
blind
enough,
obsession.
Deadpool's Bang Bang Bang. Um,
Could
just
be hilarious.
you just like, oh, 3 attacks off of one. Yeah, great.
Mhm. So the important thing is if you can take out Hulkbuster with a 3 threat model this way, you've gotten serious value.
Does blind
Still keep the pressure.
obsession? Sorry
Go ahead.
for it. Does blind obsession go away when the person who spent the power for the card gets KO'd, or the person you're targeting gets KO'd?
I don't know.
Because put it on Bob,
Oh no, Bob doesn't have nearly the attack volume.
but he
Are
doesn't
you insane?
KO.
I think when you're dazed, um, I don't know. I don't know if this falls off. We'll have to ask that.
We'll
That's
have
a
to
great
ask that,
question.
yeah, because you can
It's
just
also a
make it
great
unlimited.
question because Hulkbuster technically doesn't daze. He just switches to Tiny Iron Man. Is he a different character? Does Blind Obsession fall off?
That's a good question.
So,
Hmm.
in general, Blind Obsession is a tactic card I'd highly consider
Hmm.
when going after a high threat target that you know is going to be a problem for bullying the table. Um, Honestly, I think one of Hulkbuster's biggest weaknesses is he has no status immunities, and there's a
Hmm.
lot of particularly nasty status effects that take his efficiency and plummet it. So,
We did forget to talk about the one major way of defeating Hulkbuster easily.
oh, did we?
Yeah, low point scenarios. Just make it so he doesn't go on the table.
That might be the ideal scenario for Hulkbuster.
That's
Remember when we thought 15 threat was safe, and we
oh,
were wound up going up against Captain America, Thor, and
Thor and
Hulk,
Hulk, and just
and
having the
you're
speedball special. Just oh god, that
and
was
then
a
you just
terrible.
realize, oh no, I actually don't have. I have like 5 models. There are 3, but none of my models have enough beef to punch through Hulk.
It's just oh,
And I
and then
feel like that's
Thor
going to be a
shows up.
similar problem.
It's just gonna be terrible.
You want to
Uh,
know a more terrifying thought than even that?
15 points where you have Hulkbuster, Hulk, and Sam.
Uh, and then Hulk uses Gamma Launch to throw Hulkbuster range 5.
Doesn't think I don't think he can. I think it's a size 3. But well, yeah, that's terrifying. So,
No, there is no size requirement on Gamma Launch.
oh
It's the
shit.
Hulk.
So, that's what we kind of have for Hulkbuster. Uh,
Good luck.
good luck.
Uh, it's going to be one of those things where you just got to play into it, be aware of where you're going to struggle.
Give him
Probably
bad choices.
one of the other pitfalls would be concentrating so much on Hulkbuster you ignore what else your opponent's doing.
Hmm.
So Hulkbuster is still
I
just
would
one
not recommend
model.
that. Or you can't ignore Hulkbuster. It's kind of a bad thing to say. But if anything, make Hulkbuster really out of position by chasing something else and go for other objectives, and then come back. Yeah. Good luck.
That's
Yeah.
going to be how we end all of these. Is just, well, good luck.
Good luck. Good luck. Game off.